Okay, so now we're going to take a little time and go through different areas of law and talk about computer-assisted legal research sources and strategies for those particular areas of law. So the first one we're going to be talking about is environmental law. And I've posted a fun video for you guys to watch just generally on environmental law. So you can watch that. But before we determine what kind of research we need to do as an environmental lawyer, we want to talk about what an environmental lawyer actually does. So if I'm in private practice, their job is to advise clients about their responsibilities with regard to environmental law. So what are their green standards? They have to help them comply with environmental laws and deal with things like they're complying with the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act, disposing of and properly identifying and following all the requirements regarding hazardous waste. Say if you're in real estate or development, you have to worry about potential endangered species, habitat protection, wetlands, biodiversity, management of your waste, and liability for waste cleanup. So there's a lot. If you're a government lawyer, say you're working for either the federal EPA or the state Environmental Protection Agency, you're going to be concentrating on the enforcement of environmental laws. Okay, so where do we look to for environmental law? Environmental law is by and large statute-based, big ones like Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, CERCLA, Endangered Species Act. And if you are a practitioner or a legal professional working in those areas, you have to be familiar with both federal and state laws on those areas. So now you have these big federal statutes, and the day-to-day operation of them is really put forth in administrative rules and regulations. So the EPA or the state EPA puts out regulations. And again, your clients are responsible to abide by those rules and regulations. So places you're going to be looking there is at the Code of Federal Regulations, Federal Register for updates and proposed rules, environmental rules. And then the EPA website is another place you would go to for assistance there. Okay, there is some case law. It's not as big. I mean, it's just research for interpretation of statutes and regs, but it's more like compliance with regs is what you'll be doing. For secondary sources, you have treatises, you have loose leaf services, and then you would have like these technical documents put out by the EPA, form books, checklists, things like that would be super helpful. Now, if you go on to Lexis or Westlaw, you notice that for really each of the big areas of law, you'll have a separate topic area. What happens with these databases is the company pulls out everything related to a specific area of law. So if I'm running a case law search in the environmental law section, Lexis or Westlaw has already pre-searched and given me only environmental cases. So it's kind of a little bit of a safety net. So you're really only looking through environmental cases. So here I go to practice area. I'm on Lexis and I go to environmental law, and you'll see I'll have my primary laws like my case law, my statutes, and my administrative materials. Okay, so all environmental law cases, state and federal, statutes and legislation, codes and court rules, administrative stuff. Then my secondary materials. Okay, any forms, jury instructions, expert witness stuff, directories, news, legal news related to it. So it's kind of nice. It all pulls it out for you so that you can kind of have one-stop shopping for environmental law. Okay. Then the next thing it says, I said environmental practice. So pause me, then go back to your practice and do some environmental law practice here. Okay, and now we're going to talk about bankruptcy law. Watch the little clip from The Office. Everybody loves listening to Michael Scott. Okay, so bankruptcy law is a litigation type practice if you're a bankruptcy lawyer or working at a bankruptcy law firm. So the debtors, the people who owe money and are seeking bankruptcy, they have to compile lists of their debts and their assets. They have to file the petition, and you have to monitor the case through the court proceedings. If you are representing the person who is owed money or the company that is owed money, you want to file a claim in the bankruptcy proceeding and ensure that the debtor is actually following the proper procedures, and if there is money, that you get some. So filing your claim. Bankruptcy law is all federal law, and there's the bankruptcy statute section, and depending on which chapter you're looking at, it's a different kind of bankruptcy. So you have liquidation is Chapter 7, reorganization is Chapter 11, Chapter 13 is kind of like a personal type bankruptcy where you're a wage earner. So you're going to go to U.S. Code for that, and case law for cases interpreting those statutory sections. It's also form specific. Filing the claims, filing the bankruptcy petitions, coming up with a list of assets and debts. Secondary sources you might be looking at would be, maybe searching for assets, using loose leaf services for particular area, bankruptcy materials, bankruptcy forms. So here's examples of bankruptcy form stuff. I'll just pull this up while I'm waiting for that to go so I can show you on Westlaw what it looks like. So on the bankruptcy court websites, look, here's all your forms. So that would be a source that you'd be all your schedules and things like that you're going to need to file a bankruptcy case. So attorney forms, so this is like a super helpful place to go if you are practicing or working at a firm that specializes in bankruptcy law, or you're working in a bankruptcy law department of a larger firm. Just want to show you what Westlaw would have as a topic area. Come on, I agree. There we go. Sorry, this is taking a bit of time. Okay, so if I go to practice areas here on Westlaw, bankruptcy under B. Okay, come on, Westlaw. Okay, so you have cases, orders, regs, forms, briefs, statutes and court rules, all of that related to bankruptcy. And then they have what they think are, important news articles for you. And you can make this, they also have this option that you can add it as a favorite or a start open page if this is stuff, an area of law that you use quite often. Okay, so the next thing, go back to your classwork and do some bankruptcy practice. Okay, now intellectual property, that's fun. I hope you guys have